This is my TZR250 3MA, and I'm going to be doing a bit of work on it today to get it back on the road. So you can see it's not been used for a while. You can tell by all the dust on it. I should have had it covered really. It was covered for some time, but I took the cover off for one reason or another. I think I put it on another bike. But yeah, I've got a battery to go on the bike. Needs a battery on it because the last time I went out on it, the indicators were not working very good and things like that because the battery was no good. So I'm going to strip the side panels off. I've got the carb to clean as well, the carbs, because it was running funny, spluttering I think on one of the cylinders. So it always benefits from the carbs being cleaned, not being done for a while. I've got the lower fairings off the bike now, and what I'm going to do next is remove that airbox. So you can see everything's pretty tight on these bikes. They're quite a pain to work on, if I'm honest. If you need the carbs off, you've got to get all the pipe work out the way on the radiator. Yeah, they're quite special to work on. But fortunately, to clean the carbs, you can actually just take the bowls off the bottom. So if you get the airbox out the way, it'll allow you access to all the screws underneath, and you can just drop them off to clean them out. So when you're working on these Japanese bikes, it's always best to use these screwdrivers, JIS. So I think that stands for Japanese, what's it stand for? Japanese Industry Standard or something like that, possibly. Right, so I've just been outside and I've googled this just to make sure so you've got the right information. It is Japanese industrial standards. So basically these fit perfect to the screws on these Japanese bikes. So you see a lot of the screws are all mangled up, and it's generally where people have used the wrong screwdrivers. So these are the ones that you want, and I'll actually leave a link for these on Amazon. So I'll leave a link for Amazon because generally they're competitive priced, and you'll get them the next day most of the time. Anyway, back onto this bike. There's a 10mm that I'm just going to whip out of here. And they'll just pull forwards. Or they should just pull forwards. There you go. Bit of a pain to get off and a bit of a pain to get on. But they're off. And now I'll have access to these screws. The back one in there is going to be a bit of a pain. I'll just get onto it. But yeah, I'm going to whip them off and I'm going to see if there's any crap in them and then give them a clean. So that's one off. And as you can see, that doesn't look very good. The fuel looks old. You can see there's lots of crap in the bottom of there. So I poured all that petrol out and you can see there, look, there's still dirt in the bottom of there. So imagine how much dirt would have been in it before I actually poured the fuel out. So that's going to need a good clean. And the bad thing is I actually put a filter on this side. So I put an inline filter on here. Not the best fuel clamps, I know, but it's all I had at the time. I just wanted to get the filter on. So there's an inline filter in there, and also on the carbs there's some filters as well. I'll show you on the other side. So on these carbs, a lot of people probably don't know about this, but in there's actually a filter. This one you can get to fine, but the other one you actually have to remove the carbs to be able to get to it. Absolute pain in the backside it is. So when I've cleaned these bowls, I'm hoping that it's going to be fine. I'm hoping that it's going to run fine and everything's going to be okay. If I do have any problems, it's going to be a nightmare because these carbs are going to have to come completely off, and that's going to mean stripping a lot more of the bike down. So I've just whipped this fuel pipe off there to show you this filter. Look at this. So that's a tiny filter in the carb. and it's got one in each carb. I'll just show you. So when I first got the bike, both of these were completely block solid, and I didn't even know that it had these until I stripped the carbs. So I stripped the carbs down and I put them in the ultrasonic cleaner, give them a good clean out, and the bike ran absolutely mint. I've stripped, cleaned and banged them carburetors back together now. Airbox is back on. I'm going to check the plugs next. So to check the plugs, you've got to undo these here to move the radiator forwards, and there's just enough room to get in there. In fact, remembering rightly, the easiest way to get onto the plugs is a spanner, just like that. Then you get your hand in. So I'll give that a clean up and I'll put it back in. Just going to gap these plugs while they're out as well. So this one was looking a bit tight. Looks better. So I've got the plugs back in and I've fastened the radiator back up. The plugs were not too bad to be honest. They're going to be a bit oily because it's not really had a blow. It's not really been blown out. Last time I used it, it wasn't running great, so I kind of brought it home and then just didn't really do anything to it. It just got parked up. So I think the next thing I need to do is have a pint because I'm absolutely parched. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the battery on and then I'm going to fire it up while the fairings are not on, so that if there's any problems, I can investigate it. Right, battery's on. I've got the key. Oh, we've got ignition. Got ignition. So we'll just see the power valve do its cycle again. So that's operating there. Hopefully they're operating properly on both sides. So that might be something that needs investigating if it's running crap again. It could be the fact that maybe the power valves where the joint in the middle might have loosened off and the one on the left might not be turning correctly, fouling the gases coming out of the cylinder. It's a possibility. She's a bit smoky. Right, next job. Let's not mess about. Fairings on, leathers on, helmet on, camera, and out.